Apple create promotional images to sell their iPods and iPhones and almost everything else they make, they like to do it by having a reflected copy of the object on a white surface. So we'll show how that technique's achieved using our own picture, this time of an apple. It seems appropriate. Let's duplicate this apple layer by dragging it onto the new document icon in the Layers palette, and we'll move it beneath the original apple. We can go to Image, Rotate, and rather than the top half, which flips the entire image, we're only going to flip this layer vertically. And we can now move it down beneath the original apple. At the moment, this is much too strong a reflection. We need to tone it down a little. And we can do this by making a fake layer mask, which we've seen before. So we'll go to the background layer, the one below the copied apple, and make a new adjustment layer. And we can choose any of these. We'll just go for levels. We're not going to touch the adjustments here. Instead, we'll go back to the Layers palette, and this time we'll make a clipping mask of that new adjustment layer with our apple. And we can do this most easily by holding the Alt key down and clicking between the two layers in the Layers palette. Now we can go onto the mask that comes with the adjustment layer, switch to the Gradient tool, and make sure our gradient is set to black to white. If we click at the bottom of the apple, hold the Shift key down and drag upwards, the Shift key constrains this to a vertical movement, and will drag just a little way past the top of the apple, and that makes a mask on the adjustment layer, which then masks the apple copy, and there's our perfect reflection. Now, to make this work better, we need to put a shadow beneath it. Let's take our original apple, duplicate this again, and now fill this with black. Black is our foreground color, so we can press Alt, Shift, and Delete to fill this with our foreground color. We'll move it behind the apple and use Free Transform to make it less high and less wide. And we'll position this until it comes just beneath the apple, round about there. And we can hit the Apply button. All we need to do now is to soften this shadow using Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur, and we can drag the slider until we get a suitable radius. We want a soft shadow, maybe around about 15, 16 will do this for us. It's still too dark a shadow, and we can lighten this up by simply changing the opacity of this layer. If we change it from 100% down to round about 40%, that gives us a good shadow, and there's our finished image.